Well, hello again. It's Paul from Ski Instructor Academy. I'm here with Andy from Snow Camps Europe. And after a very short pause, we're back with some more topics, ski-related, of course. And what we got now, Andy?
I think we need to talk about the war in Europe.
The war in Europe.
The war in Europe. Or, as we know, it's the war in the Ukraine. And the effects that it's having currently and the effects it's probably going to have for the winter. Because the effects are being felt this summer here in Austria for sure.
True, yeah.
As they are everywhere. And we're probably going to talk about things like fuel costs that everyone's experiencing. But in the way of the travel and the tourism, we are seeing that the bookings for this summer so far are down, especially from two different demographics that come to Austria in the summer, and that is the Arab visitors, who we see a lot of, and Americans. And the last time we recorded one of these, we were talking that the ski golf was on. And there was an incident within the ski golf that one of the parties of 20 coming from America actually cancelled. And the reason was there is a war in Europe.
Well, it's close. I mean, you know, it's obviously closer than America, and people flying across obviously are concerned, I suppose, or worried about it. But yeah, it's crazy to think that something that's happening, you know, in Ukraine can have such a diverse effect on, obviously, or adverse effect on what's happening here in Austria. But yeah, it's noticeable. I mean, I'm not normally here in the summer. I'm here for a brief period now before I fly off on Friday to South America.
We should just mention you have just been on another holiday, haven't you?
I wasn't on a holiday. I was on a training camp.
Oh, a training camp.
It was meant to be a holiday, but actually I spent the time working in the morning. Well, actually, other way around. I was actually spending the time training in the morning and then working for the rest of the day. So it was a training camp combined with work in a location.
A holiday with emails.
A holiday location. Being in Spain in the Pyrenees, which also was quiet as well, I must say.
So go on, you're about to go to Argentina.
We are. We depart early because of after this 2-year break with COVID, it's going to be important to establish contacts out there. People change, obviously, in such a space of time, different people in different positions now. And yeah, from, you know, meeting the people in the town hall, to the hotel, to the association within Argentina, and then the ski resort, there's a lot of setup to be done. It's almost like starting these courses once again. I mean, interestingly, from the course in Argentina, it's strongly booked. And it's followed up as well as being a strong commitment. In fact, on that Argentinian course, I think we only had one person back out and cancel. Statistically, it might seem strange to people, but you know, from every sort of 100 bookings we get here in Austria, I don't know, about maybe 7% cancel before they go through with the final sort of stages. In Argentina, it was really successful, but in New Zealand, 50% of the people cancelled when required to pay the installments or the last payment, if you like. 50%. But that's interesting from my side, because other companies, I was speaking obviously because we deal with rookies in Rookie Academy in New Zealand, and they had also had a higher than 50% rate of cancellation in New Zealand.
Now, it's going back to what the original subject about the war in Ukraine. Are we thinking that was because travel prices have gone up so much for people to get to New Zealand, or?
Well, probably because they think New Zealand's in Europe.
Well, also possible.
No, I think it is. I think it's more to do with people were a bit shocked at the price of flights this year, which is crazy, because I know from my side, I mean, in Argentina, I'm taking sort of 7 staff trainers, if you like, and it's a considerable step up in cost this year. It's insane. And I, like I mentioned before, I put this down more to the fact that a lot of airlines lost slots, and they did try and hold slots in airports during COVID, but eventually money runs out. And those loss of slots, I think, ended up being this critical situation where there's not as many flights. So capacity's shrunk, and therefore demand is up. And people as well, there's a high demand to travel. And it's almost like when you look at the chaos with travel around airports, particularly in the UK, I look at that as well and think to myself, a lot of the time, are they literally putting flights up so high to try and discourage people from flying because they can't actually, fill? They're overfilling, they're oversubscribing all the time in the airlines.
Yeah. Well, the American, the internal flights in America do that all the time, don't they? Because quite often you'll go to check in for your flight and they'll say, "Oh, would you like to get the next one? We'll give you $100," because they actively oversell because they also know that some people don't make the flights. But saying about the airports in the UK and what we're experiencing at the minute with the baggage and the flight cancellations and the 3-4 hours to get through in Manchester and places. My sister, who should have been coming out here on the 29th of July, she's cancelled her holiday. Moved it to next year because she didn't want to wait so long in the airport. 2, she was being told don't take any
luggage bag.
Don't take a suitcase. Badge, only take hand luggage, and she's gone.
This is crazy.
This ain't going to be a holiday. So she's not done yet. And this is someone who hasn't travelled outside the UK for about 35 years. So one more year won't really matter.
Yeah. No, I was thinking the same because when we travel up to the airport on Friday, obviously we've got to do a little hop to get to to another airport to fly out to Buenos Aires. And fortunately this time, because I've booked things my own way, there's sort of 4 hours between the flights when I land in one airport to travel through. Whereas normally, actually, I've got about an hour and 30, and I was thinking, God, with the way the situation is, it's just crazy. You've got to allow yourself a lot of time. God, I miss COVID. I mean, it was just so much easier. So at this time, it's possibly that's putting off some people with the New Zealand stuff because, of course, New Zealand really, pushed the limits of opening up. It made people very nervous who were in the courses, whereas on our courses in Argentina, it's been open and there's been never a concern that we're not going to be able to travel into Argentina for some time now. Whereas New Zealand, you could understand people being a little bit panicky about it. And then, of course, generally it's 2 long-haul flights as well. So flight tickets, I think, would be crazy high. But then again, the sort of last-minute bookings for people coming to Argentina, because normally around about this time to the start date on the 31st of July, we would see at least another 7-8 people try to get onto the course. Now, there's space there, but what those people are going to have to do is really shop around for flights because some people were literally going, I'd love to go, I've checked the flights, they're crazy, they're 2,300 euros for an economy ticket or something. And I had to then steer them to different airlines that people didn't even seem to be aware of. People just seem to go, I'm come from the UK, it's British Airways, I've got to go with British Airways. Don't ever do that. I mean, the need to shop around now is so important. When I come back from Argentina, we fly out to Cape Town, to South Africa, after a few days. And normally the tickets there, again, they're reasonable. You fly with Emirates from here. It's a good airline. You get straight through. I couldn't fly with Emirates this year. I've ended up going with Qatar. And there was 50% difference in the prices. And it's crazy at the minute, but you have to look. You have to be,
you've
shop
got to shop
around,
haven't you? You've got to shop around. And going back to kind of the effect on costs here in Austria, and it's just been announced today, it's the highest rate of inflation in 47 years. And we're operating the restaurant, and we've just had our first month, June, and our sales are slightly ahead of last year, but our costs are 25% more. Yeah. And we are every day having to shop around, even for things like, and I think we mentioned this on
potato
one of the
chips or whatever.
Well, bell peppers.
Bell peppers.
Bell peppers, a big one. They've gone from 49 cents a bell pepper to €1.49. And a pack of 3 is €3.49. And it's just bonkers.
I don't know where you're shopping because it cost me a lot more than that.
Well,
I was in the shop today, and it was bio, whatever you say in English, avocados, $1.99 each for an avocado.
We're getting
crazy.
We're getting 2 avocados for $1.98, but they're not bio. And they're relatively small. They're not very big.
Which is what I said about the trick about people saying, "Oh no, the prices are still the same for products." No, our toothpaste hasn't gone up. No, our toilet rolls are the same price, but they're 25% less in the jar.
Some things are really smaller. Yeah, you've got to, when we're buying the cheese and the meat, we're having to look at the kilogram cost rather than the
price on
the packet, and it makes a massive difference. Luckily, we get a lot of our stuff from the farm fresh, so they haven't increased their prices.
And this is the issue then is we're having a huge problem trying to book accommodation in Morzine in France this year coming, because the guy that we normally would work with has just been absolutely ridiculously demanding. And, if anybody has anything in Morzine, please ring us, contact us. We need accommodation for about 30 people. And what I've found is that accommodation is going to be an issue for us in the future seasons, because it's getting more and more difficult to find cost-effective accommodation. It's either ridiculously 5-star type of accommodation, or you get that 3-star, 2-star type stuff that wants 5-star prices now as soon as it hits any type of holiday period, and it just literally prices you out the market for people who want to do like seasons in resorts, for example. Particularly in catered style accommodation, you've got to almost go now self-catered style accommodation. And if people want sort of the evening meals, you're better off going to a restaurant, arranging that with a restaurant as a separate entity, and they call into the restaurant with a voucher or a ticket or something like that, which is what I'm doing in Austria this year, because in Austria, it's just, well, you can see the same problem. I mean, obviously you're buying products, ingredients, and have the staff, etc. It's not worth me doing that now. It's better for me to get cost-effective, self-catered accommodation, go to the Baum Bar or, one of the Flares or somewhere like that and say, look, cook evening meals for these guys. And that's the option I'm going to go for in Austria this year because of the way the costs are going. Yeah,
and that probably will also be quite beneficial to the students who then don't have to go out and buy ingredients.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, simplicity. A lot of it's not just the students. I think a lot of the parents who are sending sort of, for the first time, young adults away, 18, 19 plus, they want a bit of security that they're getting fed rather than relying upon themselves to feed themselves. So they want to know that they're getting something as an evening meal that's substantial. So I do understand that. I mean, before Brexit and things, we never did any type of catered courses. They were all self-catered courses because we were trying to educate people to be able to look after themselves for the season when they went to a ski school.
Exactly, yeah.
Because the ski school wants to know that they can cook without burning the house down and that they can actually, cook a meal for themselves during the season. So almost our course wasn't just a course in becoming a ski instructor or a snowboard instructor.
It was life skills.
Yeah, it was teaching them the life skills needed to be able to work. Now, because in the UK side of things, it's now difficult with work. And, I can pick up on a comment from... where was it? From, I think it was Peter as well, Rundrig. He got a bit angry with me, I think, because it was probably you, not me. Because obviously it's one of those things where we refer to England sometimes and forget that obviously Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland is, the United Kingdom. They're all in the same thing. And please, don't get angry at our slip of tongue, because it's a bit like people referring to Austrians as Australians. It's like it happens a lot. How many times people, you say to people, where are you from? You go, Austria. And they go, Australia. And you go, no, Austria. And they look at you blankly, and you have to go, next to Germany. But yes, when we refer to England, we should really refer to maybe the United Kingdom.
Unless we're referring to England.
Unless we are. But in these cases, we generally are referring to, as Peter says, into the United Kingdom, where all those people have been, and you were talking about this off air before, the ability for those first-time season people to come in and do a job's difficult. And that's why at this time, we are already at something like 60 plus people from the UK, Peter, from the UK, booked onto the Japan option, where they train exams, etc., here in Austria, but they will go and work a season in Japan, because that is, and that course is just going to get fully booked. It's just going to be completely solid booked out by UK people.
And what we were talking about earlier is that there has been an update today on this, the new, more easy entry route into Austria for workers. But I haven't read it in full detail, but it didn't seem to be a great deal easier than it already is, to be honest. So that's not a surprise. 60 people going to Japan. Wow.
Yeah, and I mean that's early.
Cook.
This is only June or July the 1st. Is it July the 1st? Yes, it is.
July the 1st.
Yeah, it's July the 1st. So yeah, I mean this is what I expected to see, and for us now actually. The difficulty with Japan is it's not really open. It's sort of opening up now. It's just starting. Ski schools are nervous. But, anyone who books Japan should book very quick because there's going to be limited spaces for jobs in Japan. But don't get me wrong, what's going to happen in Japan is they're probably going to take, 80, 90 of our students or whatever. And then come November, they'll be screaming for like another hundreds of students. Like they need more instructors because things have loosened up, things are opened up. But it's too late because people can't then apply for the visa in time.
Yeah.
But nobody wants to commit. Because it's a gamble. But unfortunately, the positions we have, at least we have some positions. We're one of the lucky academies that can offer that. But from a UK point of view, it's interesting that Canada and Japan now are balancing up. Don't get me wrong, we still have a lot of people from the UK booked to come to Austria on our 10 or 11 week sort of gap course and just spend the season out here in Austria because it's cheap, it's ideal, it's close. So that is heavily booked as well. But again, like I could say, bookings might be ahead from previous seasons, but costs are insane. And I can't keep up now with the costs. Lift passes have shot up, accommodations obviously going up. And, on top of that, then people start demanding money because they want more money because they need more costs. Like you've seen today with, Ryanair and EasyJet have all went out on strike. Really? 9 days of strike action in July aimed specifically to get what they want, which is a 5% increase, I think, in the wage, which is probably understandable because the average person just cannot afford to tank their car anymore. They cannot afford to go and get the bell pepper.
Well, this is, as we said when we talked about the increase in the price of some of the ski lessons in Capron, 79% increase. The ski teacher's not going to get an extra 79%.
No, he'll not see that. No,
he'll not see anything. The other thing you just mentioned, lift passes, and one thing I'm telling a lot of my people to do is not to wait and buy their lift pass. As soon as they can buy it, because I can see the price increasing again
during the season.
Yeah, and I also had somebody who's booked with Crystal, who's coming over to do the camp in January, and I said to that person, I said, book your lift pass at the time you book your Crystal holiday, because at the moment on the Crystal website, the Alpine card is £270, which is, when you convert it into euros, it's actually less than it was in euros last year.
Right.
So how that's happening, I don't know, but
probably a mistake by Crystal.
It probably is.
Take advantage of it.
There was a great one the other day I'll tell you about. But yeah, if you are booking with Crystal, get your lift passes now because they can't then come and put the price up on you. Crystal, or TUI, on their Facebook page last week. We cannot wait to be back in Zalem and there was a mountain range and a board of food and a beer of Italy.
So it happens when you use stock footage.
Crazy.
Yes, well, I do feel for the average, tourist now coming out because it's going to be hard to plan for the winter season because people are looking at the costs increasing, for their own lifestyle back where they live, and then they're going to look and think, do I really want to commit to an expensive ski vacation this year, or will that be where I can save my money to get me through that year? And maybe we'll see, less people. But what you're going to see, and this is what keeps winding me up, and we've mentioned this before, is just less of the average earner and just more of the high earner.
Yep.
And this is the issue, that it's getting such a shame. We might be going back to the times, in the 70s, 80s, where the only people who could afford a ski holiday were, higher than average earners, which is a shame. So budget locations like, Bulgaria and places
Romania,
might actually start picking up again.
Yeah,
because...
Yeah, it's... I would say if you can book your holiday now, if you've got the funds to put your deposit in now, then you're going to save than if you wait.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
The hotel prices are going to go up. Lift prices are going to go up. The transport from the airport is going to go up. It's all going to go up. And some of it's going to go up phenomenally from where I can see.
But I think as well, people are losing confidence is, because, okay, there may be only... I don't know, they said the other day, only 2% of the people were affected at Heathrow Airport the other day. But, you know, from the amount of 1,000 passengers, still a lot of people that got affected by those cancellations. And people are probably looking, going, well, if anything happens and my flight's cancelled, that's that holiday ruined. And who's going to refund me all this? And I can't just take the following week off or whatever. So there's a lot of things. I mean, I know from my side that I look at our info box when it's coming through. I think I saw about 3 or 4 in the last 5 weeks emails from people wanting security checks on people who've done courses with us who are wanting to work in an airport. And of course, these security checks, when you look at them, that you have to fill out for people, it probably take you about, I don't know, maybe it's 15 minutes, you know. But all of a sudden, this is another load that you've got in your own company where all you get. I mean, we get these a lot with Duke of Edinburgh awards and stuff like that, which isn't so bad. But here, these forms are quite detailed forms when they're asking questions, and it's like great. You know, you can see they're trying to do these security checks as quick as possible, but you can understand that there's probably a lot of people just will never answer those.
So what you're telling me is that there are going to be loads of ex-ski teachers working in security in the airport. Literally going left, right. Same as when they were skiing.
Yes, this is very true. So yeah, I mean, it's a good start just to tackle the world economy and what's going on and people's understanding of what's going on. You do hope that people don't change their patterns too much, but I feel some people are going to be forced to make some changes that they don't want to do, or make decisions about their lifestyle so that they can either still ski or still have a luxury, you know, like a ski holiday or something. It's not going to be easy. And in turn, yes, I think, you know, I was talking yesterday with the sales marketing, we need, unfortunately, to also react and put prices up. So I reckon you've got about 24 hours to book your course with Ski Instructor Academy before prices go up. We already made a mistake on the Japan course by €1,000.
Oh, dear.
Luckily, all those people who are already booked, as we have an honorary system, they don't need to pay the excess. But anybody booking from today is going to be paying it. Things are going up, so I think, like Andy says, it's probably better to act sooner than later.
Get it booked now. Still spaces on our camps. Still spaces on your camps. Still spaces on courses.
Everything's everything's as normal. Like I say, we're plus in the bookings. Canada heavily booked. Japan courses heavily booked. And when I say Japan courses, our courses always start with at least 4 weeks in Austria. Some people do 6 weeks in Austria before going out to Japan. And we've mentioned this before with Japan, that there is no snow in Japan when you're allegedly supposed to be doing some sort of an exam. What's interesting from our point of view is ski school owners and bosses are requesting now certain qualifications. Now, we've always mentioned this before on our website. If you look at our website and Ski Instructor Academy's website, that a qualification is only as good as the demand from the ski school. So, yes, an Austrian qualification is a very strong qualification. It is generally, you know, recognised around the world like everybody else would say about their qualification, but it does not matter. We need to follow the market, and if the market says you should do an Italian qualification, you would be doing that with Ski Instructor Academy, because we will recognise where your best opportunities are. So in this case here, some people will be doing an Anverder. However, some people might end up doing like an NZ qualification because the ski school boss wants that. And we don't have any loyalty to any association, whether it be Basie, the Canadian, the Austrians. We only have a loyalty to the guest, to the person coming in, because we have to recognise, and to know that, we need to know what you want. You know, if somebody's just doing a gap course for one season, then generally we'll just go with the qualification that the ski school boss wants. But if somebody said to me, yeah, they're going to want to work in Japan, but then they want to come back to Europe and work in Austria, for example, then I wouldn't recommend like an NZ qualification. I would say, look, no, you need to do an Austrian qualification for the future, because your NZ qualification is not going to be worth anything really here in Austria or the surrounds compared with an Austrian qualification. So I think sometimes when people are booking ski instructor or snowboard instructor courses, make sure you air out, what is your goal here? Is it just a gap season and that's what it's going to be? Or is this a long-term plan? Because it would make a difference, Very good. Anything to add, Andy?
No.
A guy said to me...
There is no war in Europe.
There is no worry, mate. There is no worry. Who was it? Oh, it was Richard. Richard Skies. Now, I'm sorry, Richard. I've only made 25 minutes, 20 seconds, because he said to me, he says, why is it that you and Andy panic when you get down to about 20 minutes and you go, oh, we've been talking too long? Because Richard's Stairmaster session, he likes it to be like 30 minutes plus, which I said, hey, that's a hell of a Stairmaster session.
He's a legend on the Stairmasters, Richard, I tell you.
He was telling me, I was reading about it. And he went, that's an easy session, that 30 minutes. Yeah. And I went, Jesus, he's going for it on that Stairmaster.
He's getting ready for December. Because he knows what's coming. He was out with us last March. He's coming back out in December. And right? He is Mr. Stairmaster.
I tell you what you could add into your Stairmaster then, Richard, is add in some backward treadmill work. There you go. Do that. So get off your Stairmaster. The guy in the gym might get a bit angry with you, but then jump onto the treadmill with it switched off and then just push the band round backwards. And that'll really help your knees and stuff for the winter season. There you are. That might fill in another 10 minutes. So I'm sorry. I made it to 26 minutes 30. And I will try and do a longer podcast, especially when we're in Argentina when we're doing the podcast. They'll be longer because we'll be doing a lot of stuff on the piste as well. So that might
don't have them too long because I don't want him getting worn out before December.
Bye for now.
See you later.